So I'm here with Salman. Salman is a jiu-jitsu instructor,
Practitioner.
okay. And today I was fortunate or unfortunate enough, depending on how you want to see it, enough to get onto the mat with Salman. So Salman, can you tell me about why and how that came about?
Today was the perfect day because it's the National Sports Day. So we had an open mat. So I invited him to the open mat. Open mat is something like everybody's welcome. Like they can come and join. Anyway, so uh, he put on a gi. Gi is the outfit, the uniform we wear jiu-jitsu practitioners. He put on his belt, and then he got a little introduction to jiu-jitsu. We did some, basic moves and movements, and then he also sparred with rolled with other guys, bigger guys. So
Should we look at?
yeah, sure.
Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about what jiu-jitsu is like?
Okay, so Jiu-Jitsu is basically a grappling martial art. Jiu-Jitsu was developed for a smaller person to defeat or beat a larger opponent, assuming like the smaller guys are trained and the bigger guys untrained. How you gonna utilize the techniques in Jiu-Jitsu to beat the guy? By beating, I mean how to defend yourself first of all, and then neutralize the threat.
What would you say are the basics of jiu-jitsu?
Okay, basics of jiu-jitsu, that's a very loaded and very tough question. Like there's so many moves, like there's endless moves in jiu-jitsu. Basics is usually like the fundamental moves, which are like when you're playing on bottom, there are like certain moves, when you're on top, certain moves. So that's like, so the basics of jiu-jitsu would be like if you're standing, you take down your opponent, you go past his knees, and then you pin him to the ground, like establish side control, get to the mount, submit him.
And until today, I didn't even know that there was a jiu-jitsu scene in Qatar. So how many classes are there? How many clubs are there out there right now? And how does a person get into it?
Yes, I'm fortunate enough to have started jiu-jitsu at the right time because the jiu-jitsu scene in Qatar is booming. Like 3 years ago, many Brazilians they came to Qatar 3 or 4 years ago and they started their own gyms. So there's like so much competition going on, like so many academies, which is good for the jiu-jitsu scene overall. There's so many competitions coming up, especially this year. So yeah, that's how it is here in Qatar.
Tell me about. So I grew up with watching a lot of movies, okay, and in the '90s, jiu-jitsu was huge. So with the first Matrix movie, for example, you see Keanu Reeves turn to the screen and say, "I know jiu-jitsu," okay, and actually, I think he says, "Jiu-jitsu, you're going to teach me jiu-jitsu," and he gets the martial arts program into his mind. What's the difference between movie jiu-jitsu and real life jiu-jitsu?
Okay, so first let's understand what the term jiu-jitsu means. Jiu-jitsu means like the gentle art. And like there's two branches of jiu-jitsu. There's Brazilian jiu-jitsu and there's Japanese jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu we train is Brazilian jiu-jitsu. We call it jiu-jitsu because it's global now. But Japanese jiu-jitsu is very traditional. They have this old school, like old moves. So I think Brazilian jiu-jitsu is more effective because we try out new things. And Brazilian jiu-jitsu came from Japanese jiu-jitsu. And with regards to your question, what's the difference between movie jiu-jitsu? Well, with movie, everything is scripted, so you can do pretty much. And also, I think real life jiu-jitsu is not very fancy. Like there's some moves because in movie,
On the mat, I was on the ground a lot.
Yeah.
Lots of grappling, lots of
Yeah.
locks and submissions.
yeah,
Whereas in movie jiu-jitsu, you see people
you
being
see
thrown
people
around.
flying and doing all sorts of stuff, which is like very low probability happening in real life. So,
Why is that? Why is that low probability?
because I don't think human beings are meant to like fly and float around, or And I mean that there's some moves that you can do, but basic fight dynamic is like it's not that flashy. That's the thing.
But I'm a huge fan of John Wick, okay, and
Yeah.
I saw Keanu Reeves training. Okay, he was
Yeah.
training in jiu-jitsu prior to making the movie. How much of what you see in the movie has some similarities with real life jiu-jitsu and how much of it is just movie fanfare?
No, that's true. With John Wick, there's so many moves are. He uses so many jiu-jitsu moves in his movies, and like you said, he trained jiu-jitsu before making that movie. I think Keanu is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu or a purple belt. Like,
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, he trains jiu-jitsu. Yeah,
I had no idea.
yeah,
Yeah, because you got to respect the guy. I mean,
yeah,
he's in his senior years, but he's still going out there learning a martial art, using it in the movie, and it's a lot of improv, and a lot of it is it comes from him. It's not
yeah,
it's not something where he's
Yeah.
had to learn
yeah,
half of a language for a movie
Yeah.
and then just forgotten about it.
Yeah.
He's kind of kept that
yeah.
going.
Yeah, that's the thing about Keanu Reeves. Yeah, everybody loves Keanu Reeves.
Well, talking about actors, I wanted to tell me and our viewers, because I was having this conversation really recently with one of my friends about the benefits of knowing a martial art. What are the benefits of knowing a martial art? So, for example, the world's becoming a more dangerous place, and especially in certain parts of the world, you can get robbed and you can get picked on, for example. And what are the benefits of knowing a martial art from your side? It doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. It could be karate, it could be kung fu, it could be judo. But what are the benefits from the fact that you're a competitive athlete in jiu-jitsu? What are the benefits of knowing a martial art?
There are endless benefits of doing a martial art. The first is you know how to defend yourself, and you're in control of your body. You know what you're gonna do, especially like when you're threatened.
What about the health benefits as well?
There's like fitness, keeps you fit, and keeps you in shape. Also, I think one of the things, I don't know if it's talked about a lot, you make so many new friends along the way. I think that's one of the best things for me. You
Today-
meet so many new people. Yeah, like today in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, I met one of your senseis.
Yeah.
He threw me around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
I met there was one of your female instructors. She was
Yeah.
wearing pink,
Yeah.
and I asked her, "Why is your gi pink?" And she said, "Oh, this is my breast cancer awareness gi."
Yeah.
And that was so cool. I never thought I'd see in my life a breast cancer awareness jiu-jitsu gi, but today I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was so awesome. And a story about someone broke into Bruce Lee's son's house, Brandon Lee. They broke into Bruce Lee's son's house, and of course, big mistake. Okay, this guy was trained by his dad from a young age. Okay, and I think Brandon Lee kicked that guy's ass. Okay, and called the police. So it just, that's a very exaggerated example, but it is important for you to be able to defend yourself. Just to have some techniques of how to take someone down if you are in that situation.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I think someone broke into Dolph Lundgren's house,
Yeah.
the guy from Rocky 4. And I actually met Dolph Lundgren this summer
Nice.
at Comic Con. I didn't tell him the story, but someone broke into Dolph Lundgren's house, and they, it was dark. They had the flashlight. They were checking the place out, and suddenly they see the pictures of Dolph Lundgren. He's a karate champion, and he had all his karate medals on the wall. And as soon as they saw who he was, they scalped. They left. They didn't hang about to try and get confronted by the Russian Siberian bull from Rocky 4.
Yeah. That was a smart decision not to break into.
That was a smart decision. I think I'd probably do the same thing. If
Yeah.
I resort to a life of crime, I'd probably not steal from Dolph
definitely,
Lundgren's house.
Anyone but him.
Yeah. Tell me about diet. So when you're in jiu-jitsu, I know you said I spoke to you a little while ago, and you're in training. And what's a jiu-jitsu competitor's diet like?
Okay, so it depends on the goal of the competitor. If you're bulking or if you're cutting weight, it depends how you're gonna. But diet in general is very important, and not just for your performance, for longevity. So you want to stay healthy. And in jiu-jitsu, in traditional jiu-jitsu, diet was emphasized a lot. Like jiu-jitsu practitioners, they had to eat certain things and they had to avoid certain things, like no drugs, no alcohol, like no unhealthy things, whatever.
Can you do jiu-jitsu and have fast food?
I think you can, but it will affect your longevity. You don't want to do that. It doesn't affect you right away, but certainly it will affect you in the long run.
Today, when I was on the mat and you were teaching me the basics, and I was trying to rotate on my hands while I was on my back, I was running out of energy. I felt tired, and I was like, well, this is where the stamina comes in.
So the stamina comes from training. Like the more you practice, the better you get. Your body adapts to it. That's how I think.
Your instructor, I don't know what he eats, okay, but That guy, I was with all my body weight, okay, and I'm kind of a big guy. I attacked this guy, right? I just bounced off him. It was like hitting a tree.
Yeah,
And a tree doesn't move. A tree's rooted, right?
yeah,
I hit this. I didn't hit him. I just tried to move him
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
his square, okay,
Yeah.
and he didn't move. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to know what your sensei is because I couldn't move him.
Yeah,
This guy.
yeah. We should ask him. Yeah.
Well, it's very popular right now. MMA. Okay, so you have
MMA,
Joe Rogan out there.
Yeah.
People have got a great following, and he
Yeah.
talks a lot. He talks a lot of sense, not just about MMA, but a lot of things.
In the day,
This is a very different sport from
It's still
MMA.
one of the
How
best
is it different from
sports.
mixed martial arts?
Like MMA, like encompasses everything. Has boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, Jiu-Jitsu. Even some of the guys do judo. They're all different martial arts.
What was it that Bruce Lee? I know that Bruce Lee started to mix disciplines. What did?
I think Bruce Lee used to do a variation of kung fu. Maybe it was called Jeet Kune Do.
That's right, Jeet Kune Do. That's why he came. That's why
Yeah.
he brought into fashion, isn't it?
Yeah.
How is that different from Jiu-Jitsu? It's more contact rather than grapples and throws.
So Jiu-Jitsu, it's more grappling, submission grappling. You can say like there's no kicks and punches, but you take down your opponent and then you submit him. Or if you get taken down, what are you gonna do? Then you can do whatever your game plan is. You can get into leg entanglement, or you can just stand back up again, take your opponent down. Depends. You can even fight from the bottom.
I had your one of your instructors. I didn't put him down. He put himself down. Okay.
Yes.
And I thought, great. Now he's on the ground. I can now get him into a lock. But he was more comfortable on the ground rather than he was standing up. There's nothing I could do. I think he had me within a lock within about 10 seconds, and I was tapping out.
So I think that's why Jiu-Jitsu, that's what makes Jiu-Jitsu unique from other martial arts and even other grappling arts. You can start on your back.
When you taught me the foundations, you taught me with me on my back on the ground, using my feet, not my hands much. My feet were my primary modes of attack and defense.
Yes, so what we did was we went through some self-defense scenario. So he was on the ground, like he was seated, and then I was an attacker. I'm gonna come and hurt him, like punch him. But then he told him, you're gonna go on your ground. You're gonna utilize your legs. You're gonna use your legs. That's your guard. You're gonna keep me away. Try to push me back. As soon as I'm back, as soon as you see there's enough distance, you can stand up and then get me in a bear hug and take me down, get in a mounted position, and then finish me. Armbar or Americana, like there's so many submissions you can do.
Yeah, I learned the armbar today.
When you're more because it was your first class, I didn't teach. We didn't have time enough to go through everything. But you can even learn to play from your back. You don't even have to stand up. Yeah. But in self-defense, we encourage people to stand back up because self-defense can be anywhere on the streets. You don't wanna be on your back on the streets because it's concrete, it's hard. But if it happens, I hope it doesn't happen to anybody, but if it happens, you're still comfortable playing from your back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not encouraging anyone to go out and get into a fight, but it's helpful to know a martial art just for the health and not just that, it teaches you discipline.
Exactly.
Because how many times have you not wanted to go to class and training?
Every time.
You got training today after our
after this podcast, after this interview,
Yeah, and what do you do? How do you dig deep when you don't want to go, but you just force yourself to go? How do you do that?
Whenever I don't want to go, I always think like my coaches, like they don't expect a lot from. They do expect, but in another way. Like I think I'm gonna let them down if I don't go. So they're gonna be like, you should come and train, and it's good. It's actually fun. Like even if I'm tired, if I'm drained, I've had a long day, I still go because I get to meet my friends. I get to meet other people.
I wanted to interview you because I know that there's a lot of stuff on social media about bulking up, about getting big and all this kind of stuff and getting jacked and ripped and everything, but none of that matters if you are just doing it for the sake of it. Whereas I'd rather someone, or even for myself, I'd rather get ripped and toned while I'm learning a martial arts, because along with martial arts, it's synonymous with discipline, it's synonymous with routine, with good habits, not bad habits, with habits, with there's a social element, like you said, you're making friends, and none of that happens in the gym. In the gym, you go in, you train, and you leave. You might have a gym partner, I've got a gym partner, but most of the time you go in, train, and you leave. And whereas martial arts, there's that continuous discipline, and you're working the entire body. But today, after our session, I was only on a session for about 30 minutes. I was knocked. I was drained more than I am after the gym. After the gym, I'm fine. I go and have my shake and I'm good. But learning a martial art is something else.
One of the people who criticize like gym goers, people who go to the gym, is that you're training your body, but it's not functional. I like we go to the gym. I like people.
It's like buffing up your car, isn't it? Putting some turtle wax on it.
Yeah. Like I'm not looking down on the people who work out, like who are bodybuilders. Really, like they're good people. They're hardworking. But I'd rather have like do something that's functional.
Tell me, can you expand on that?
So basically, when you work, if I want to be a bodybuilder, it's just like, it's like a beauty contest for men. Like who has the biggest body.
Oh yeah, there is that element, isn't there?
Yeah, with martial art, at least, you know something, some moves. Bodybuilders can lift a lot, can bench press, but it's good. I do bench. I like to train that way, but only bodybuilding, I'm not really a fan of that. But people who go out there, bodybuilders, I'm not looking down on you. You guys are awesome. But I'm just saying it's my philosophy.
I'm going to ask you a question from one of my followers, which is, who would win in a fight? A jiu-jitsu trained athlete or a professional boxer?
Okay, so it depends on the rule set. If it's boxing, obviously a boxer would win because is a boxer. If it's MMA, I'd put my money on a jiu-jitsu guy. I'd say
MMA versus jiu-jitsu, who would win?
So no, in MMA rule set, jiu-jitsu versus boxing, I'd go for a jiu-jitsu athlete, considering he knows takedown, because some jiu-jitsu guys, they don't know takedowns, so you want to take your opponent down. But I'd put my money on a jiu-jitsu guy.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, Salman. It's been interesting.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was my first podcast ever.
So our first podcast as well. My first live face-to-face podcast.
Yeah.
So this channel does hope to bring more people together and give a voice to different parts of the world. And this was a very interesting talk with Salman about Jiu-Jitsu. Salman, if someone wanted to watch this video and come and start training with you, where would they come?
So I train at Harpia Jiu-Jitsu in Qatar, in El Tumama. So that's where I train. If you want to come train, you can meet me there, and I'll introduce you to Jiu-Jitsu. You can have your first class is free anyway.
So there you go. There you have it. Thank you, Salman.
You're welcome.
Great to have you.
Thanks for having me.